Hello, spiritual seeker. This is Deepa Lou, and I'm the creative mystic. And I ring this bell to awaken you to your divine self. So today, this morning, I should say, I sat down to do my morning sadhana, my morning spiritual practice. And I have this little Buddhist saying on my altar. Today is a new beginning. What matters most is what I do today. And as I was reading that, spiritual quote, that Buddhist quote, I got this flood of a download from Divine Mother about, how important this quote is for your spiritual transformation, and also why this quote is so important. It's, Divine Mother was telling me it's not just a catchy saying to inspire you, but a philosophy of life, of like how you live your life from an empowered place. And this quote is also about how you have spiritual transformation and transformation in your life. So if there's anything in your life that you're not liking the way it is, if you have maybe you're not liking your job that much, or just that your relationship isn't the where you want it to be, whatever it is you want transformed, that's what spiritual transformation is about actually helping you in your life. A lot of times people want to have spiritual transformation like, oh, they're going to do these practices, and if they don't immediately become enlightened, they give up, and it's really like the evidence becomes in how is your life transforming. That is the big key here. And this philosophy of life, this saying, this quote, today's new beginning, what matters most is what, you know, I do today. Often you'll see it in print as each day is a new beginning. What matters most is what you do today. But I like to put it in the I format because it really is about, like what I do today. And for you, it's what you do today, but you want to change that into an I, like really think about what can I do today that would, really create my life in a way that has meaning and purpose, and you're happy and fulfilled in it. And so this quote that you sometimes see in different places is really a philosophy of life. It's a way of how you live and actually make, conscious new causes for what you desire in your life. Because it's not just about doing the same old thing. In fact, if you just keep doing the same old thing, you get the same old results, and that's what can be challenging for people, because most people live life from habits. In fact, one of the first things I ever heard a Buddhist teacher say to me that really impacted the way I lived my life was, don't live your life as a habit. Take each new day as this new beginning, and you really consciously decide what causes you want to make in your life, because those causes determine the effects, the results you're going to get. And it totally transformed my life. I went home and I started, chanting and saying that, I no longer want to live my life as a habit. I want to live each new day as a new beginning. And that new beginning, that philosophy of looking at each new day as a new beginning, is about, one, about that forgiveness part that I've talked about before, about, that's the past, and let's start now, because what we have is the present moment at the moment. And what catches people is, when they see this saying is, and this is the depth that Divine Mother wanted me to share with you, is there's like two really important factors that will transform you, give you spiritual transformation, and transform your life. So, spiritual transformation is all about transforming you yourself, your consciousness, and your life. It's not about suffering and having lack consciousness and not having the things that you desire. It's about transforming and being, who you came here to be, and fulfill, your purposes, and especially what I call your holy calling. I've talked about this before, but your holy calling, I'm going to keep reminding you, you have a holy calling. Okay. Part of the spiritual transformation, living by this philosophy of life is so that you can fulfill that holy calling, that purpose of yours that's here to help, you know, not just your own life, which is important. You want to help your own life, but also transform the lives of others that then transforms the world, which brings more peace, more love, more joy onto the planet. Because I truly believe when people fulfill their holy calling, we're not transforming only your life when you fulfill that holy calling, but the world. Okay. So, Divine Mother wanted me to share with you the two most important things to one, really live this philosophy of life. Because what happens with for people when you see that saying about what matters most is what you do today, is people struggle to actually do something different than they did before. Have you ever been there where you have a desire, you have a goal, a dream of something you want in your life? Or something, maybe you want your relationship to be better, or you want to really, maybe you want to go out and be that entrepreneur that really starts to bring your spirituality into, the business that you're creating, so that you can, shine your light and plant seeds to everybody you touch, because that's one of the great things about more spiritual seekers becoming entrepreneurs, is you can go out and shine your light and plant seeds in so many more people's hearts when you have your own business and you get to decide how you want to go out into the world. So she talked about two really big things, because what happens, and the reason why that Buddhist teacher who said to me that not to live life as a habit is, we typically as human beings get into habits, right? You probably have your habits. You get up at a certain time, or maybe you do certain things or eat certain foods, and we tend to keep doing and thinking, and that's the big one. Thinking and feeling habitually the same way. So if you're somebody who tends to, you know, be grouchy, you habitually have that habit of that emotion of grouchiness, and the habit of like not being happy about things. And then you have your little physical routines of habits that you do. And in order to change those, you have to do two things. And that's what Divine Mother wanted to share with me. What keeps us stuck in the habits that we have and not really being able to make a difference, and having it really be a new beginning where we make new causes. See, that's the thing about today is a new beginning. What matters most is what you do today, is that you've got to transform the way you think, the way you feel, which is your consciousness. Your consciousness is made up of, you know, what you think, what you feel emotionally, where you reside in the way you look at life, all of that. And your belief structure in spiritual truths, how many spiritual truths you are aware of, and to what depth of your understanding is. The depth of understanding you have about your spiritual truths and how well you can apply them is what determines the consciousness that you have. And it determines whether you can make new causes or the same old habitual ones that keep you stuck. And that's the thing about this philosophy of life. It's about checking in each day with yourself and say, new beginning. I can make new causes. I don't have to do the same old thing I'm doing. What matters most is the new cause I make today of what I want to create in my life, what I want to create in the world. And it starts first with the inner. In America here, if you're listening to this, we tend to be very outward oriented. What do we do? I got to do. And that doing is not bad. It's one of the reasons why America has, one of the biggest economies, and that is because, we're doers. But if you want to have true spiritual transformation and true transformation in your life, it's an inner change. And that inner change has two different things you need to look at. The first one is emotional healing. Okay, heal your emotional wounds. Divine Mother wanted me to really stress this, that, if you have any kind of emotional wounds, and when you have them, it's those things where, you feel like a button's been pushed, or you get triggered, you say, oh, I got triggered, you react before you can stop yourself. Or sometimes you feel pushed on the inside, but maybe you don't react outwardly, but you can still feel like, oh, that hurt me, or that, triggered me, that hurt my feelings, that made me feel bad, that, ooh, I could feel my anger come up. All of those are emotional wounds that are getting pushed on. Those need to be healed. Okay. You have to, if you have some great trauma that happened when you were young, or PTSD of a trauma that happened even not when you're young, but as an adult, you got to heal those things. Okay. And then the second thing is your programming. Everybody has been programmed. Your subconscious mind gets programmed from everything that when you were young. Most of this programming happened before the age of 7, but it continues to happen throughout your life. And that's the thing people don't get. Your core way you look at life and beliefs and emotional wounds get programmed a lot before the age of 7, when you had no mechanism to be able to stop and say, cancel, don't want to let that in, or that I don't believe that. Everything you heard, saw, was said to you, you experienced, just came in. You're like an empty book, a computer without a hard drive. I mean, without any programming in the hard drive. You just soak it up and take it in. And you don't even know it, but you're getting programmed with certain beliefs, which, certain ways of behaving, with how you think the world works, and you think it's spiritual truth, when in actuality, it's just what your parents or relatives or society around you believes. And most of that, a lot of that, is not based on any spiritual truth. It was when I started to get on my Buddhist path, I started to be exposed to spiritual truth. And then I began to get into yoga and, got exposed to even more spiritual truth. And I started to look at all the threads of truths that are in all spiritual paths. And you start to learn, like, oh, so much of what we learned when we were young is not true. That it's, it's based on somebody's experience that they had based on whatever level of consciousness they were at. And so, in order to really live this philosophy of that each day is a new beginning, and that you're going to make a new and different cause, because that's about what it's talking about, is that you're going to make a new cause for what you truly desire, of what's true in your heart. That's what transforms you and your life, because I haven't met a person yet that most people make decisions from what they've been programmed by what, and you've probably been programmed with, okay, what to be responsible, to be safe, to be, have security, to do only what you can afford, like money is like you make all your decisions by money, and all those things I'm not saying are bad, but they are not the truth of how you manifest more, how you create a life you love. They are, in fact, what keeps the blinders on, so you cannot see the options and the things that you really truly desire. And so, in order for you to really live the philosophy of this Buddhist quote, you have to be willing to look at the emotional wounds you need to heal. And you have to be willing to go, oh, I need to learn the spiritual truths and laws that are operating in my life 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay. And have deeper understanding so I can apply them more effectively. Because as you're on the spiritual path longer, okay, you don't find a lot more of like new things on the spiritual path if you've been on a long time. If you're new to it, oh, everything's new and exciting. But if you've been on the spiritual path for 10 years and you've been practicing, it's not a lot of new things you're searching for. It's deeper understanding of the spiritual truths. And that deeper understanding of the spiritual truth, you're having it when you can apply it in your life, when you can live it, not just know about it, which is what most people do, is they know about it. You have to be able to apply it. And I love to get deeper understanding. I'll read the same spiritual book over several times so I can have a deeper understanding, because each time I come around and read it again, might be a year, 2 years, 3 years later. Sometimes it could be 3 months later, I am in a different place. And that deeper understanding allows me to apply it even better. So you want to look at getting the support. And that's the thing is when you're looking at healing, healing, people think on the emotional side, they often think it should be done in a vacuum. And when I say a vacuum, what I mean by that is that they don't go out and get help. They think, I should be able to get over this. I should be able to stop being bothered by this. I should be able to stop reacting to this thing. And I tell people that's not true. Okay. One of the things that in order to live this philosophy is you need to get the support so you can actually heal. And healing is about letting go of what's no longer serving you, letting go of the resentments that are keeping you stuck in that emotional wound and reacting. It's really about, how do you do that? And think about it. If you got hit by a car and your leg was broken, would you feel like you got to heal on your own? No, you wouldn't, right? You go to the doctors and you say, set my leg, get it straight, put it in a cast, and then your body will heal. It's no different with your emotional wounds. You have to get the support. So if you have PTSD, you want to go find a therapist that specializes in PTSD. Now, when I work with people, I tell people, like, when they become my clients, there's a healing component to it. But I tell people honestly, if you have some deep-seated traumas or PTSD, you need to go get the specialist for that. Because I'm not a specialist in PTSD or helping people heal deep traumas. I'm about helping you to connect with the divine presence, start to understand the spiritual laws that are operating in your lives, and help you to have understanding so you can apply them and start to see that spiritual transformation happen in your life. And so you want to get the support that resonates with you. It's really important because when people have emotional wounds, you're caught in a perspective that you can't see something different. And so you need someone to help you have a different perspective. We all have a blind spot, and our blind spot is ourself. I say this all the time. Think about it. You've never seen your own face, have you? You haven't. You're probably thinking, well, I have in the mirror or on a video. That's a reflection of it, not actually your face. You can't hold it up and look at it, and because your eyeballs are in your head. And so that fact that you can't see your face is exactly the same thing. It's like you have a blind spot to be able to see things easily yourself. Don't feel bad. Everybody has it. I have it. I have a coach that I help that helps me with my blind spot. And that's one of the things that, I love about the coaching I do is that, I help people to learn what the spiritual truths are and how to apply it. But I use my spirit guide portals. They come in, I should say they volunteered, they wanted to be involved. They come in and they actually zero in on even spiritually of what's happening for you, what's creating the block, what's creating it so that you can't move forward, because when you go into like your own business or you're wanting to step into your purpose of your holy calling, you may not want to do it as a business, but you may want to step into that. Our emotional wounds, our subconscious mind, where all of our programming is stored, our emotional wounds, subconscious programming is all stored in that subconscious mind. That subconscious mind wants sameness, safety, security. And it wants to keep everything the same. It doesn't want you to move forward. And so when you take that little edge towards doing it, you watch yourself get scared or go back, or you wonder why all of a sudden you feel confused. People will be like, oh yeah, they take a step forward and they're like, oh, what happened? I thought I had so much clarity and now I'm not. That's where you need to get the support. And that's one of the things that I help people with. If you're ready to move forward, you're ready to really have that spiritual transformation so that you can step into your holy calling, feel free to check in with me, accept my complimentary gift. Go to deepaloo.com/gift. And I'd love to talk with you and see if, you're ready for that support. So what you want to do is find somebody to help you with your emotional healing and find somebody to help you with helping you reprogram the beliefs that have been holding you back, the falsehoods that you've been living by that you thought were truths, but maybe you're starting to know now they're not, because like one of the biggest falsehoods I tell people that we've been programmed with that prevents people from moving forward is I'll believe it when I see it, because it's the complete opposite. You have to believe it before you're going to see it. People keep waiting like for, well, I'll do this when I have the money, when I have this, when I have that. And in order to have spiritual transformation, you have to connect with the divine presence, whatever name you call your divine presence, connect with it and do that prayer demand that I've decided that this is what I want to do in my life. It's what I really feel my calling is, and I want to take action onto it. And here's the support I need. And you do that prayer to your higher power, and when you decide, then all the forces in the ethers, spirit, divine mother, come and back you up to help you move forward. But if you're caught in that programming on your own with the emotional wounds, often we can't see the gifts and that divine mother, that spirit's bringing us to help us move forward. Because what happens is your fear comes up and you think that it's not the gift that it really is. All right. So, hope this was helpful. Divine Mother really wanted me to share these two things with you and wants you to, if you're tuned into this podcast, you're ready for spiritual transformation to make that leap to go get the support you need. Doesn't have to be me. If I am, and you resonate with me, I'd love to hear from you, but doesn't have to be me. Find the person you resonate with and move forward on that next step, because there's always a next step, and that's what spiritual transformation is about, is the willingness to take the next step. All right, remember, greatness is within you. It's time to let it out. Have a miraculous day, and I'd love to hear any comments, questions, and I would love to hear if you have some spiritual transformation that's been going on for you. I'd love to hear about it. All right, blessings.